them and cause more fitna and fasad and endanger the life of the few believers in Mecca. Yes? So, even though it was, and he was no, that you have idols there, you'd say it's wrong to be praying there. Yeah, we go around trying to cover it. Oh, but this is the Haram and the Prophet ﷺ praying with the Sahaba there. And what happened in the end? In the end, the Prophet ﷺ succeeded in his mission of removing the idol worship from the hearts and minds of those mushrikun, that they, and Fatu Makkah, when the idols were being destroyed by Rasulullah ﷺ, they were joining in destroying them themselves. This is like the benefit coming at later. You don't want the immediate benefit of having no idols, but what is given priority is the greater benefit that will come with time. This is a priority. We weigh up priorities. Our ancestors, for those who were born here, our ancestors came from abroad, Muslim countries to this country. Majority came for mal, financial reasons. Yes? It's not haram, I'm not saying that. Mal there is amongst the dhururiyat, remember? The absolute necessities, a means of sustenance. They were poor there, they were and came here. Others came for safety of life. Yeah? We know people who come here for asylum because their life as Muslims trying to practice Islam was under threat by the so-called Muslim governments. Now, when you do a hijrah like that, you have to weigh the pros and cons, because coming here will also have negatives as well. It's not all, positive everything, is it? So it's weighing up what is the advantages and disadvantages and what takes priority. Perhaps our ancestors didn't do that, but it doesn't have to be done then. It can be done at a later stage. You can change your niyyah. It's not that you made the niyyah of coming from mal and money only, and then you have to live with that for the rest of your life. You can come here and then change your niyyah to please Allah, to do da'wah. That's what opened up a great opportunity for da'wah in Europe, isn't it? The Muslims, when the world was a different kind of world, where peoples were at war and armies were on the borders always. That's how things were negotiated, through warfare. The Muslims at the head of armies, and when they were strongest perhaps in the world as an empire, could not enter Western Europe. But in these last few decades, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave millions of Muslim opportunity to bring the faith of Islam, even though they may have come for other reasons initially, but the opportunity still opened up for us to take this light and nur and bring this Islam and open Western Europe, which is also called Fath, to the message of this thing. Great opportunity. Great opportunity for reward and pleasing Allah, is it not? So things can change in that regard. And in doing that, again, there are possible losses and possible harms as well. And so one has to weigh up one against the other. And this is to do with priorities. Priorities, you see, for example, in France, they banned the hijab, we know recently. Yes? How many millions of Muslims left France since then? Why didn't they leave? Because they're greedy and want their money and things? Is that how we're going to think? And perhaps some are. Because, brothers and sisters, we don't want hijab to be banned here. Yeah? Some of us sometimes think we're working for Islam and actually cause more damage to the Muslim community, and this is the other thing, I'll come to it in a moment. But hijab is there as an obligation in the tahsiniyat. It was the third in the category of maqasid al-sharia that we mentioned yesterday. Okay. But life and deen, and many Muslims feel their ability to practice their deen and their life security, and freedom and dignity, all those, despite the banning of hijab, more available in France than their back home countries. And the possibility of da'wah as well. So they stayed put. They stayed put. And this is to do with priorities. This is to do with priorities. Another example of priorities in the field of da'wah would be, for example, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent Mu'adh ibn Jabal, radiallahu an, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, to the Yemen. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, call the people to La ilaha illallah. When they have accepted it, and it means accepting it, that it's Iman has entered their heart, yes, that's the most important, first priority. Then tell them about their duty of Salah. When they have accepted that, in other words, they've taken it on board, begin to do it, then tell them about their duty of Zakah. And when you take Zakah from them, take not from the best of their things, where you make them feel as though everything's been taken. You see the gradation and what is priority. What is priority in regards to bringing Tawheed to the people first. And we find a lovely example of that with Banu Thaqif. In the final year or two of life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because Banu Thaqif from Ta'if was very late in embracing Islam. After the dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after Ghazwatul Hawazin, he made the dua, Ya Allah, bring Banu Thaqif to me. Make them believers. And they did come to him. And Banu Thaqif were very military type of hard soldier type people. They came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and some of them encamped in the mosque as well as mushrikun to observe the believers and their salah and interaction, hear the Quran, hear the message in the masjid. In the masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina, mushrikun. They were camped there with their tents. And when they came to embrace Islam, they said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, they said, we want to believe, we want to become believers, but our culture, urf again, is that we like adultery. Give us permission to carry on doing adultery. He said no. They said, Ya Rasulullah, okay. He said no. He said, Ya Rasulullah, we, our idol, Allah, we want to maintain and continue. Give us permission to carry on worshipping that as well, and we worship Allah. The Prophet said, no, that's not possible. No compromise on that. And they mentioned one or two other things. Then they mentioned at the end, they say, Ya Rasulullah, give us permission not to pay the zakah. We don't want that burden on us. The Prophet ﷺ said, okay, I'll allow you for the first year not to pay zakah. You see, the Prophet ﷺ, where it's possible, just to facilitate. These are, now look what we're talking about. These are the sound, strong fundamentals of this faith. Salah, worshipping and shirk and zakah. And, these are the fundamentals, these are the pillars of this faith where there's no compromise. And even in that, in zakah, the Prophet ﷺ, only he can do that. He said, okay, for the first year don't pay zakah. Zakah is due on you in the second year. So he tried to facilitate. Never mind things which are even smaller and in the details, yes, to facilitate people to come to the deen. Because La ilaha illallah, once it enters the heart, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam knew that they will take everything. And they did. Zakah wasn't a problem for them after that. It's to facilitate that iman. And hence the same, why the instruction to the Sahaba going to Yemen, bring them to La ilaha illallah first. Aisha radiallahu anha, that's why she says in authentic hadith, she said, the first revelations that came of the Quran were to do with Tawheed, belief in Allah, and to do with Akhirah, to build the iman. Not to do with the details of do's and don'ts and halal and haram, that you can't drink, you can't drink alcohol, and you can't do this and you can't do that. Aisha radiallahu anha then says, she says, Had the first verses been, you can't drink alcohol, you can't